What is up? Here's episode number 2 of my video blog. And so I got some questions here from some career switchers from Shenandoah University. I'm going to go ahead and try to answer these. So if I kind of look to the screen like that, that means I'm looking at a question. So these ones are questions tricky interview questions that you've had. And so these are coming from career switchers, and we're going to read them and see what's happening. So we got question number 1, what is your quality? For any time there's like a tricky question, I usually try to follow it up with a question myself to maybe hopefully clarify what the interview person is asking. So what's your quality? Like, as far as I would say, what's my quality of the classroom? What's the quality of the education the kids are receiving? And I'll try to follow up with a clarification question. Another one is, how do you feel about ambiguity? I'm like, well, I wouldn't say this, but in my head I'm thinking this is a really ambiguous question. Once again, I would ask for clarification, because I would pretty much try to figure out what angle they're trying to get at with that question. And number 3, how do you motivate a student who is not interested in learning? And so when a student comes in my classroom and they really don't want to do anything, it's a lot of times not because they're disinterested in math or whatever subject you're going to teach, but a lot of times there's a lot of outside factors that come into play. So I'm really trying to figure out what are those outside factors. How can I really help a student out get past that so they are able to learn what's happening in the classroom. And so if a student's hungry, that's going to affect them. If they're tired, there's a whole range of factors ranging from just some real simple physical needs to some different emotional needs that they have. It might be as complex as the parents are going through a divorce to somebody unfriended them on Instagram. So I'm trying to figure out what's happening in their life. But if I find out what they like, that's going to be a home run for me. So if they're into sports, games, clubs, whatever they're into, I'm going to figure out how to be interested in that, to just have conversation with that student. Another question is, what do you do if there is a physical confrontation between 2 students in your class? You need to call the main office immediately. You don't touch the kids. You try to get the kids who are not involved in that away from what is happening. Because a lot of times physical confrontations get fueled by other kids. Will start taunting them or trying to egg them on. You raise your voice, you do those things, but there needs to be a phone call immediately to get people down to your room to stop that. Do not step in between the two students. I will not do that. How do you provide differentiated learning in a 30-student classroom with limited technology? The biggest thing is you have to know what the baseline standard is. You have to know where all your students are at first. So you have like a curriculum piece of it, and then you have where your students are at. Because a lot of times where the curriculum is at, maybe the students are ahead, and you can kind of really challenge them to go deeper in the topic. Or for me, since I teach math, it might be that objective wasn't clear last year for them or the year before that. I remember talking to a student trying to figure out where the gaps were. The student had a long-term substitute in 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. And so that really made a difference as far as how I approached every single objective with that student. So it's really up to the student, but I mean, in a classroom, you have to know where your students are at. So if they have IEPs or if they have different accommodations, or just kids who don't have IEPs but you know where their struggle is, you're going to do everything you can to provide maybe an extra resource for them, or find a different way to word it, or provide a different activity for that student. For those kids who always get done ahead of time, those are the ones where you can start to ask a lot of deeper questions. And so a great resource that I found was I found a Bloom's taxonomy question guide. And so you might take the same worksheet and you might ask them a deeper question about one of the questions that's on the worksheet. So if you don't have access to technology, you do printouts and those things, and so that would be something very handy to do. My last question on the list, for right now anyway, is what do you do with a student who is misbehaving or disruptive in class? And so my thing is I always want to deal one-on-one with that student. So obviously they want some kind of attention, whether it's positive or negative. In this case, it's obviously negative. And so I do a gentle reminder. I say, listen, it's time to calm down. Whatever's happening between you and another student or whatever's going on, let's try to settle yourself down. Second time, I pull them out in the hallway. We have a conversation. Usually, if it escalates past that point, I'm emailing home, calling home, talking to guidance counselor. A lot of times we talk amongst teachers as far as what can we do to better help a student. Maybe we keep seeing a trend, and maybe that student really needs some help, and so we're always there trying to help out a student, because there's always a root cause behind the behavior, and so I'm always trying to figure out what that is and how we can better help students. And so I think I got all the questions on the list. But if there is any more, I'm sure I'll do part 3 of my video blog soon. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below, or you can find a way to email me. You can follow me on Twitter at MathSuperstars1, because Math Superstars was taken. And you can always check out different things that we're doing all the time.